Hello, Sonoma County. Welcome back to our channel. Petaluma, is it that great? Let's find out. Today, we're going to dive into the pros and cons of living in Petaluma, California. With all of its charm, its historic views, its rural landscape, it's got a little bit of everything, but is it worth moving to? Just a minute, we'll dive right into that. But first, I'm Morgan DeVincenzi, and with Sullivan Group Real Estate, we help people move into, out of, and all around Sonoma County every single year. So if you are thinking of making that move, researching Petaluma, researching Sonoma County areas, and trying to find the right place for you, absolutely reach out. I'm gonna put my information here on the screen, my phone number, my email, you'll get me every time. Happy to talk through what you're looking for, what your goals are, what your timeline is, and help you put a plan in place. That's what my job is, and I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to chat with you. Petaluma, California. Coming off the Golden Gate Bridge, you'll hit 101, coming right up 101, headed north. You'll go through Marin County, and your very first stop in Sonoma County is Petaluma itself. I personally love Petaluma. It is a great time. I have a lot of friends that live there. We have clients that live there. It's got a great downtown. It's got all these wonderful factors, but it has some drawbacks that you may not even realize until I dive into some of these factors. Petaluma is a unique little place. It's kind of got big city feels with small town charm and all these different factors. And so is it the right place for you to move to? Let's dive into it. We got pros and cons coming up right now. 5 main pros of living in Petaluma, California. Scenic beauty. Petaluma is nothing but rolling hills, vineyards, rural country, and then you get into town and the neighborhoods are so charming. Downtown has this historic feel to it. The facades of the buildings are original to oftentimes the 1850s to the early 1900s and have been lovingly maintained and restored over the years. And it just feels like such a quaint small town feel. And the views in Petaluma don't get much better, and that alone draws people to it. Community. Petaluma has to have one of the best communities in Sonoma County as a whole. The Petaluma community is really unique. Kind of on the neighborhood level, all the neighborhoods, everybody knows each other. Everybody looks out for each other. Most of my friends that live in some of these Petaluma neighborhoods, all of their neighbors, they have their garage doors open, they all chat with each other, they all do dinners together, they all hang out on the weekends. I mean, if that's something you're looking for, that's a really cool environment to live in. And then in town, you have all these different activities going on. The community really comes together. The community supports the schools. There's a ton of community events throughout the year. Petaluma has the best parades, like the small town charming parades throughout the year. There's a handful of them, lots of fun local business events, and the community really comes out to support the town and support all the businesses itself. Downtown Petaluma. I could go on and on about downtown Petaluma, but I'm gonna keep it kind of short and sweet. We have other videos about Petaluma where it goes into a little bit more detail of downtown. Downtown Petaluma is an absolute blast. There are wine tasting rooms, galleries, the Petaluma River runs through. So back to that scenic view, you have the river right along the downtown area. You have live music oftentimes on weekends and evenings, and there's the Mystic Theater that has live music all the time with some pretty big names. The best part of downtown Petaluma is the charming views of it with all the historic buildings, and then the best food, this is a personal opinion, the best food in all of Sonoma County, I think, is in Petaluma. So many delicious local farm-to-table restaurants. The menu is so lovingly crafted, and it's an experience to go there. It's an experience to enjoy the food, and you get to feel the community within these restaurants, and it's just the absolute best feel. There's also some fun little places to grab a little cocktail, enjoy some happy hour. There's a couple of late night bars if you want to go get your little dance on and enjoy a couple cocktails and have a little late night. Petaluma does have that as well. So downtown Petaluma, between the art galleries, the restaurants, and a lot of the local feel, it's Proximity to wine country and San Francisco itself. Like I mentioned before, you are straight up 101 from the Golden Gate Bridge. About 40 minutes is all it takes to get back to the Golden Gate Bridge to wherever else you need to be. So all those big city amenities are within an hour for the most part from Petaluma. And then on the opposite direction, you are 10, 20, 30 minutes maybe to 425 wineries in Sonoma County. So hundreds of wineries within 30 minutes all over Sonoma County when you're in Petaluma. So you kind of get the best of both worlds. You get those rural feelings, you get all the wine country vibes, but then you're hop, skip, and a jump back into the city if that's where you got to go to. Education in Petaluma is top notch. Starting at elementary school, middle school, and high school, really wonderful schools, a lot of parent involvement, a lot of extracurriculars, a lot of extended curriculum type education where kids can really focus on one subject or another, learn extra trades, different things like that. In fact, California ranked its top 30 schools in the whole state of California. Guess where 9 of the top 30 schools of all of California ranked? In Petaluma itself. That's pretty incredible. And that's definitely a reason why a lot of our clients, especially those with kiddos that are school age or going into school age, they have their eyes on Petaluma to get their kids the best education. In addition, there's also the Petaluma campus of the Santa Rosa Junior College, which is a beautiful campus, first of all, and provides a great opportunity for those that live in Petaluma or in some of those areas outside of Santa Rosa where the main campus is. You can have all of your education needs there for your junior college years. And now, 5 cons you need to know about Petaluma, California if you're planning to make a move that direction. Cost of living. We have to name the big elephant in the room. It's what we all deal with. Cost of living in Petaluma is absolutely a factor. Everything from fuel prices to the price of a gallon of milk to housing costs. It's not cheap to live in Petaluma. It's truly not, and it's something that needs to be taken into account if you're moving from out of the area, out of the North Bay, especially maybe like Central California or another state entirely. You may be used to different prices for these things, and it's something to take into account. The average home price in Petaluma is sitting close to about $1 million. So a nice, spacious, move-in ready 3 to 4 bedroom home with a 2-car garage on a nice, decent sized lot, getting upwards of close to $1 million. So definitely something to think about, that you can find a beautiful house there. There's other options and lower price points, of course, higher price points, but the cost of living and the cost of housing is something to be absolutely aware of. Traffic congestion. Of course, Petaluma being the southernmost city in Sonoma County, those that have to commute into Marin, into San Francisco, or the surrounding Bay Area, drive through Petaluma on Highway 101, on Petaluma Hill Road to Lakeville and 37. There's a few different routes, but Petaluma is kind of the main direction people have to flow in and out of, whether they're coming from northern areas through Petaluma or from Petaluma itself into other areas. So definitely something to think about. Highway 101, especially during those main commute hours, the 6 to 8 in the morning and then the 4 to 6 in the evening. It gets bogged down. You're gonna have a little bit longer commute time, maybe take some back roads if you gotta get to the grocery store, you gotta take the kids to soccer practice, whatever that may look like, count for that extra time. But traffic in Petaluma, as far as freeways go and commute times, not the best. And then Petaluma is a bigger city. It's the second biggest city in Sonoma County. There's 60,000 people that live there. And so it's not a small town. You got a lot of people moving around. So even at certain times in town, in the main downtown areas, in shopping centers, it's full. There's a lot of people. You're gonna have some traffic. You may hit times where there's more or less traffic, and just kind of be aware of that. It has small town charm, but it's not necessarily a small town itself. So be aware that traffic may be a little different than what you're picturing if you are picturing this little quaint small town of Petaluma. Environmental concerns. There's 3 hot topics that a lot of people moving into our area of California or into California itself in general always have questions about, and Petaluma is included. Most areas of Petaluma have these factors going on, so we might as well just name it. First of all, there's the droughts. From time to time, California runs a little dry on water and we have to use a little less water. Don't worry, we can still shower, we can still wash our hair, we can still wash our dishes, we can all do our normal things. Maybe we aren't washing our car as often in the driveway, things like that. But the drought may be something that affects a little bit of your lifestyle and something to be aware of, but it's all kind of cyclical. And right now we're no longer in a drought, so everything's fine and dandy, but it's likely that it'll come back again. And it's just kind of what we roll with here in California. Earthquakes! Earthquakes in California. Petaluma actually has some fault lines itself, something to kind of be aware of. There's natural hazard disclosures that are included in every home sale. There's a lot of research and a lot of information we can provide if this is a concern for you. This is kind of something you're going to deal with in a lot of areas of California. It's just the way it goes. Well, it's something to be aware of. You know, building codes have been evolving over years, so structures and things like that are built sound in preparation for earthquakes and things like that. But if it's not something you want to deal with, maybe Petaluma and or a lot of areas of California just aren't necessarily the best spot for you. And coming into the more recent years of our area of California, fire risk. Areas of Sonoma County have dealt with some pretty major fires and we have recovered and we're like 99% back in action and it's so exciting. A lot of people coming into Sonoma County have questions about this and it's totally natural, of course. Petaluma was not affected by any of this as far as the actual fires getting close there. I live in the Petaluma area of Sonoma County and was only evacuated once. And I think it was a little premature if you ask me, but I'd rather be safe than sorry, of course. But with the fires, of course, there's something to think about of the air quality. So thinking about, you know, smoky air, having to maybe wear a mask, things like that. But for the most part, in a lot of areas of California and a lot of areas of the country, I mean, Montana, Wyoming, I mean, Australia, outside of our own country had a ton of fires. I mean, it's just these natural disasters that unfortunately we have to ebb and flow with. And it's something to be aware of here in Sonoma County and in Petaluma, but it's up to you to kind of make the call if that's too much of a negative for you. Public transportation. Petaluma has a city bus. It has the SMART train that flows from northern Santa Rosa all the way down to the Larkspur Landing in Marin, so it can get you a lot of different places. For the most part, it's not quite big enough of a city to have like a whole rail system throughout or anything like that. It's not a big metropolitan city, so a lot of people are dependent on having their own vehicle and driving themselves around town. So if a lack of public transportation and the commute issue is going to be a problem, maybe Petaluma might be something to think twice about. Pros and cons of Petaluma. So much to love. I obviously mentioned that I'm a little bit biased and love Petaluma myself, but also a lot to kind of be aware of and a little leery of perhaps when you're looking to move your life to a new area, take in a new community and all the pros and cons that go with it, the cost of living, the transportation, some of the other issues that you may not want to have to deal with. Absolutely reach out. I would love to chat with you a little bit more if you still have questions around some of this, like how many times do we have earthquakes? Spoiler alert, not very often. And it happens all over California, but I'm happy to talk one-on-one with that around those as well. I'll put my information here on the screen again. Absolutely reach out, call, text, email, whatever you're more comfortable with. We'll set a phone call or a Zoom, get to chat through what you're thinking, why Petaluma or maybe why not Petaluma. We'll find you the right place here in Sonoma County and cannot wait to welcome you in. Thank you so much for watching. Before you go, do not forget to hit the like button, please. Subscribe to our channel and hit that bell so you'll be notified when we release more helpful information about all things Sonoma County and Sonoma County real estate. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.